Good morning. Today is Wednesday, August 20th. This is Wake Up with KERA News. I'm Andrew Garcia. It's going to be sunny today throughout the morning, but there's a pretty good chance we'll see some rain and thunderstorms this afternoon. A Dallas judge is set to rule on whether a controversial Deep Ellum bar can remain open. We'll hear more after the news. Several advocacy groups gathered in Fort Worth yesterday to support a local lawmaker who's refusing to follow new attendance rules set by the House Speaker. KERA's Penelope Rivera reports it's part of the ongoing redistricting dispute at the Capitol.
Fort Worth Representative Nicole Collier spent the night in the State House chambers after the Republican House Speaker required Democrats who fled the state be monitored by state troopers. Michael Bell is a co-founder of the Texas Faith Leaders Coalition. He said this is an attempt to silence voices who dare speak truth to power.
And let us be clear, when Representative Nicole Collier was detained, it wasn't just an attack on her, it was an attack on democracy.
The new rule came as House Democrats returned from breaking quorum to stop a GOP-led redistricting plan. For KERA News, I'm Penelope Rivera in Fort Worth.
The Texas Senate passed a measure yesterday that would require people in government buildings to use restrooms that align with their gender assigned at birth. Those opposed to Senate Bill 8 say it's unnecessary and could lead to more harm for transgender Texans. Texas Senator Molly Cook is a Houston Democrat. She said the bill is purely political.
Sexual assault and indecency is already illegal in every room in every county. But as usual, nothing satisfies the monsters of greed and political ambition. So we're here, disrupting entire networks of care so someone can score airtime for a campaign.
SB 8 now heads to the Texas House, where similar bills have failed in the past. A Dallas judge is set to rule on whether a controversial Deep Ellum bar can remain open. Local residents and business owners accused Rodeo Dallas of over-serving patrons and creating a dangerous atmosphere. This comes after a summer spike in crime that's prompted people in the neighborhood to ask the city and the courts for help. KERA's Megan Cardona has been following this story and spoke with Bekah Morr about the case.
So, Megan, before we get into the news of the last couple weeks, can you give us some background on Rodeo Dallas? What kind of business is this, and how long has it been open?
Rodeo Dallas is described as a sports bar, nightclub, and restaurant. It opened in June 2023 in Deep Ellum, and it's kind of a chain. They actually have another location in Fort Worth that opened last year. Owner and operator J.D. Ibanez was at the hearing on Thursday and spoke as a witness. He said he and his business partner chose Deep Ellum because they saw the potential in the neighborhood and loved its diversity, which he says is reflected in the bar's clientele. Ibanez described his business as a high-energy environment that offers something for everyone and treats everyone with respect. But some local businesses, including real estate investment firm Asana Partners, say Rodeo is a nuisance to the neighborhood.
Okay, you mentioned a hearing on Thursday. Let's get into that a little bit. What was that hearing about?
Yeah, so there was an injunction hearing on Thursday that lasted roughly 7 hours, and it was about whether or not Rodeo should remain closed. Now, for background context, Rodeo closed 2 weeks ago for alleged lease violations and then reopened days later. Then Asana Partners Deep Ellum filed for a temporary restraining order, which was granted, so Rodeo has been closed since. So the hearing was to see whether it would reopen or remain closed until further notice. After the hearing, Asana Partners said if a full injunction wasn't granted, they wanted the restraining order to be extended until this Friday, the 22nd, or to make a temporary injunction against Rodeo that would require the business to close at 11 p.m.
What exactly is Asana Partners' reasoning for wanting to shut down Rodeo?
Well, it's really not just Asana Partners. A lot of the local businesses and even some officers spoke against Rodeo on Thursday. They allege that Rodeo lets in minors, overserves its customers, and has poor crowd control. They also allege that this contributes to crime that happens after hours, once bars start shutting down around 2 a.m. And public safety has been a big issue in Deep Ellum this summer. We've previously reported that business owners and landlords have asked the city for solutions to address the violent crime that has spiked in the neighborhood this summer. Most notably a shooting on July 4th weekend, which left one person dead and multiple people injured. Some area bartenders and business owners say it drains security resources for the neighborhood because officers have to stick to the corner where rodeo is, which is on Elm and Crowdis streets. Before the hearing, I spoke to Brianni Lee, who's president of the Deep Ellum Community Association. She told me that she's spent nights watching fights and drunkenness in the streets outside the bar.
I think that this is a very good thing, that this sends a message to bad actors that they're not welcome here.
Witnesses brought in by Asana Partners said bars have a moral responsibility for people who leave their establishments, although Rodeo's defense team doesn't agree.
Does closing down rodeo solve the public safety issues that have been plaguing Deep Ellum?
Some people seem to think so. Detective Andreas Sanchez was one of the witnesses on Thursday. He works off-duty for the Deep Ellum Foundation, and during his testimony, he said police have to babysit rodeo, with 6 to 8 officers at that corner of Elm and Crowdis streets on Fridays and Saturdays. That first weekend that they were closed because of the restraining order, Sanchez said it made it easier for officers to patrol the district and spread out public safety resources. Rodeo's defense team says Asana Partners in the city of Dallas just want to close a bar that they don't like, that has a crowd they don't want around. But Mayor Pro Tem Jesse Moreno, who was also at the hearing, shook his head when he heard that comment and told me that was not the case.
This is not about the genre of music that a club plays or the type of individuals that patronize an establishment. Bottom line, this is about public safety.
However long rodeo is closed, Moreno still plans to meet with business owners in Deep Ellum to go over public safety strategies on Friday this week.
That was KERA's Megan Cardona and Bekah Morr talking about Rodeo Dallas in Deep Ellum. The Dallas Wings are away tonight playing against the Los Angeles Sparks, and the Rangers play Game 3 against the Royals tonight after last night's loss. Fans of the Ear Hustle podcast can catch it live tonight at the Texas Theater. Join hosts Nigel, Erlon, and live musicians for a night of captivating storytelling. For more information and to find some other fun things to do, visit our Go See DFW calendar at kera.org/calendar. Thanks for listening to Wake Up with KERA News. I'm your host, Andrew Garcia. This show is produced by Shardae White with editing support from Bekah Morr. For more news in your inbox, visit kera.org/wakeup. That's where you can subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA News newsletter. You'll get a more in-depth look into the news with plenty of good morning vibes. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at KERATX. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.